Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming today. Welcome back to the Find Your Lady Tribe podcast. I'm so excited to be continuing our discussion on the midlife funk, also known as all kinds of midlife transformations that we're all going through. And today I'm super excited and honored to have with us Dr. Christina Lauk, a licensed mental health counselor and PhD. Sorry, got a little tongue-tied there. You've got a lot of little acronyms in there. So,
I do.
welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the Find Your Lady Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Brenda Ridgely. This is season 4, and we are deep diving into the heart of midlife reinvention. If you've been feeling that midlife funk, that sense that you've mastered your roles but you've lost your spark, you are exactly where you need to be. This season is inspired by the framework of my upcoming book, Ignite Your Life's Purpose and Save the World. We're going to help you move from autopilot to on fire by hearing from incredible women who have reclaimed their own life force. It's time to stop just going through the motions and start living your next chapter with intention. Let's ignite that spark. Save the world, sister.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, absolutely. So let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Christina. Again, she's a licensed mental health counselor and PhD in clinical psychology who specializes in helping adults navigate ADHD, trauma, and nervous system regulation. As the founder of the Peace Humanistic Therapy and president-elect of the Washington Mental Health Counselors Association, she integrates her deep academic expertise with holistic practices like yoga, breathwork, and somatic movement. Her work is deeply informed by her own personal journey with ADHD, allowing her to offer an empathetic, mind-body approach and transformative health. So again, welcome. Thank you for being here. And I just want to say I'm so honored and on behalf of our listeners that you are willing to share your midlife funk story and the highs and lows that got you here to where you are today, and probably the reason you do what you do. And we'll get to all of that, right? So
Yeah.
if you would just start us off and tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, I was born a very hyperactive child. My hyperactivity was very challenging to manage. My poor parents and family. It was the 70s, and little girls didn't have ADHD back then, but it started in kindergarten when they sent me out to see my first psychologist. But back then, they're like, meh, we don't know what to do. Sent me back to class. In third grade, though, things hit ahead. They wanted to put me in special ed class because I supposedly couldn't read and couldn't do math, but I was reading 12th Night at home. So go figure. So they sent me back to get tested, third grade, 1980s. So they finally gave me my ADHD diagnosis. And unfortunately for the school, I didn't go to special ed. They wanted to bump me up a grade. They wanted me to move ahead. My parents kept me in the same grade, but I went to advanced reading. They took me out of remedial reading and went to advanced reading. Didn't realize my ADHD. I'm not going to read Dick and Jane. Come on, I can do that. I'm reading 12th Night at Home. So I refused to. My justice sensitivity was real back then, and I just refused. Struggled. My ADHD for me became chaos. It became shame. Why can't I, function like everyone else? I'm bright. I'm smart. I can pick things up. They tested my IQ, so I knew I was capable, but I felt broken. I felt behind.
Mm-hmm.
And that led all the way through. The school never treated me like I was smart. They never put me in advanced classes. After third grade, I was always kind of held back a little bit. College, my first time through, was a hot mess. Nobody taught me how to manage my ADHD. I was never medicated. Thankfully, my parents put me in ballet. Movement became the answer for managing my ADHD. Got medicated in my 20s, 30s, still struggled, still was having a hard time. Owned a ballet school back then. But then everything that I tried to make meaning around started to collapse. The external achievements were no longer working for me. They no longer were giving me the joy that I was seeking.
Can
The
we go
mask I
back
was,
for just a moment to,
yeah,
as a child, when you are kind of being labeled and like something's different and all that? I mean, that's got to start creating some internal messages and internal tapes
yes.
that probably, I mean, maybe carry with you to this day.
It created complex post-traumatic stress disorder because every little microaggression builds up over time. I heard every teacher's comment. I saw every adult who rolled their eyes at me. I heard every time, sit down, be quiet. Why can't you? Why can't you? Why can't you? And that so that turns into this trauma over time. And so many of my clients who have ADHD don't even realize the microaggressions they experienced until now as adults when they're dealing with trauma. And they're like, but I've never experienced a big traumatic experience.
Right.
Let's go back.
Right. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
It seems like we all have our own little story, and trauma happens at some point, and sometimes it carries on for decades, and it's like a growth. And
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about how you've overcome that and how you help others do that. But you mentioned, during college and afterwards, you found movement, and it sounded like you were living some kind of successes that you weren't really aligning with, even though from the outside everything looked fine. It sounds like, but what was the version of your life of the world that you felt and saw? What was the quiet whisper that you were hearing in your soul during that time?
Yeah. So I was so successful, but I always got the promotion, always got the job I was going for, owned the business, successful business. On the outside, everyone who saw me thought, oh, wow, she's got her, stuff together and she has no problems. On the inside, I'm screaming. I'm screaming because I'm wearing this super heavy mask. That's not me. It's not my authentic self. I'm trying to be somebody else. I'm trying to be a neurotypical person in this world, and I'm not. And it was no longer sustainable. And I was burning out. I was burning out so fast. And there was a piece so ADHDers were super resilient. There was a part inside me that always saw ADHD as a strength. And I always felt if you're going to other me, then let's see what my other can do. Like I was
Okay.
going to, one up. Yeah.
I love that. If you're going to other me, talk about that for a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was never a part of. I was never
Mm.
a part, even my peers, I was never a part of. So fine. That's probably why I was so successful. If I'm going to be othered, then I will be better. I will succeed. What are you doing? Okay, you want that job? I'm going to be your boss. Like, cool. Like, let's go there. I have ADHD. It's not a weakness. It's a strength. I'm super resilient. But we bounce back, but the trauma stays and it's still there. And then it happened. Then, my 40s happened and it all just came crashing down. And I had that classic dark night of the soul. And my dark night lasted for a decade. And yeah, I couldn't wear the mask anymore.
Was
I
there
was
a
done.
specific moment that you can recall that you know instigated this dark night of the soul, like the lowest of the low? Do you recall?
Yeah, I was moving through a religious deconstruction. There was a
Mm.
part of me that always felt that I believed in this other thing. And that started to trickle. And then three events happened within like a 6-month period of time. And the events were simple. Like somebody who I would go to church with made a comment that didn't sit right with my values and made me almost sick to my stomach. I was teaching a Sunday school class. Little kid asked me a question, and I literally thought I can tell you what they want me to tell you and lie, or I can be honest and tell you what I think. And so my response was, go ask your mom. And then something happened within my family. And then when the thing happened with my family, it was like this blanket came off my head. Like I saw everything clearly for the first time and it got real dark. And
Mm.
I just realized, oh, how I was living my life had no meaning to me. I was living somebody else's life to fit into somebody else's little cookie cutter shape. And this is not sustainable.
Mm.
And so that day, from the trigger from my family, that day pushed through. Um, my decision that I'm going to live my life for me and my husband and my kids, and I'm going to live within my values, and I'm going to live within my meaning and how I see my life. And my dark night, though it was long, was a beautiful journey because I really got to see who I was inside.
Oh, that's just lovely. I mean, and maybe you were at a point where you kind of had recognized your own values and goals again, because I
Yes.
think a lot of times throughout our lives, our roles and whatever, all the shoulds and all that kind of layer over the top of our own values and stuff. But
Yes.
it seems as though maybe you kind of had begun to recognize the imbalance and how those were off. And when
Yes.
you decided to pivot towards your passions and the life you wanted and your own values, what were the biggest shoulds or fears that you had unmasked to move forward?
Oh, that I unmasked. Um, One of them is that I should be brave,
Mm,
right? That one, when I'm that's a mask. A lot of times, we see bravery, and is that truly authentic bravery, or is that a mask? When I was a little kid, it was authentic. I was incredibly brave. But over time, it hardened into this mask that I should be brave, right? I should be able to do anything because I did everything, right? And that should was humbling for me when I unmasked. And so that's kind of, if you look at like a positive, like we don't want to, bravery is such a positive, but that could have been, right?
yeah.
Um, and then the other one is I should be afraid.
Hmm.
I should be afraid.
Interesting.
They didn't want me back then, and they're not going to want me now.
Hmm.
And so we have this polarized, right? I have this mask of bravery, but this authentic I should be, right? And as I'm unmasking. So how do and so I leaned into my value of being
Hmm.
humble.
Hmm.
And in my, when I work with clients, it's okay to be afraid.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's through that fear we find our bravery. Bravery is not just a trait you have. When I was a little kid, I found it through I had to be resilient, being kicked out of kindergarten, having friends that didn't want to play with a hyperactive girl, hyperactive kid. Um, so those are the two for me that I think were really surprising. Um,
Wow. Let's talk
yeah,
about the transformation itself a little bit.
yeah,
Um, how did you move from the roles that you were playing before and those masks and the fear and the bravery to playing in the arena of your new values or
yeah.
your not new, the ones you just brought back?
Well, I had to make it a drastic change. Nothing could change until change happened, and so I closed my dance school,
Oh,
closed
wow.
it.
Wow.
And I had been teaching dance for 30 years. And
Mm,
I had been dancing since I was, 7. And I closed my dance school. That I was no longer authentically showing up, and I don't think I was authentically showing up for decades. I was playing a role, and then I leaned into my authentic true self, which is I am a helper, and that's where I find the purest joy. And went back to school. So it was this complete drastic life change that I needed to do. It was in dance, we call it a push turn. It was literally a push turn. It was a 180 pivot. I had to go back a little bit. I had to actually go back to my child. I wanted to be two things when I was little. I wanted to be a ballerina and a psychologist. And I had to actually go back to my youth, back to my dreams. And so I'm like, I'm going to go back and study clinical psychology, you know, great. And I did that, and I started feeling more authentic, and I started showing up in spaces more authentically. And the fear went away, and the bravery started to develop. And I only mask now when I have to MC something and there's like 300 people in the crowd. Yeah, I'm going to mask. And her
yeah.
name is Lola, and
Yeah.
she's brilliant and fun and great. But in real life, here, like today with you, this is me. I'm quirky, I'm weird, and that's okay.
Lovely. And so tell me, I imagine you got some kind of pushback from family. that are used to you in these certain roles, or maybe they were all on board and said, "Hey, yeah, you go for it." I mean, what did that look like with your grow up family, your current family? How did they take it?
Yeah, well, my husband and kids, they saw the authentic me. They saw the struggle. They knew what was going on. And so they, I think, enjoyed me actually being more authentic all throughout. And through my authenticity, I regulated my nervous system. So I'm showing up peaceful. And so they're seeing it. I think my family of origin, although they've never verbalized to me, I think they struggled with it. I was the troubled child, and that was the role. And so, I'm still treated like, the hot mess. To be honest, that's how I felt. And so I think they probably struggle, and they probably see me still through that lens of, oh, she never could get it together, you know.
Wow. Wow.
That's just how I picture it anyway.
Sure.
Just in the level of responsibility I'm given in the family.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
perception. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting, those relationships and roles that really never you can uh, they they just don't shift enough when you're
Yeah.
from those grow up years. So
Hey, lady. Just wanted to take a moment and interrupt right now in the middle of the show to ask you to subscribe. Yes, press that button right now. This show is all about you, the midlife woman. Let's do this thing together, so join us. Subscribe now.
wow. So you basically did that pivot turn, the
Yes.
180, and you closed a business that was open for how many years?
Well, I've been teaching for 30. I
30
had
years.
this business specifically was only open for 3, but I had a studio in California for 5. So I've been doing
Yeah.
it for a while.
Yeah.
Like I literally closed a 30-year career in one day. I was
Yeah,
done.
I've closed a couple of businesses too, and I know it's not easy and a big decision. And then you go back to school and you start following your heart and you're following your intuition. And so tell us, what is life like today after making all those big shifts and just showing up for yourself?
Oh, life today is amazing. Last year, I made the final push, and I do mantras instead of New Year's resolutions. So last year, my mantra was healer, heal thyself. Like finish it. We're done. And so I spent the whole year regulating my nervous system, learning all of the different pranayama, really getting into my yoga practice, doing all the stuff I coach my clients to do. I'm doing now every day. By the end of the year, I felt so good. So this year, and I had a realization that the medicine is already in you. Like you don't need to seek anything externally. It's
Yes.
in you. So this year's mantra is embody the medicine. So
Yeah.
keep doing the stuff. So I'm continuing my yoga practice. I continue doing breath work.
Yes.
I continue showing up authentically and bravely. And I feel really good. Honestly, I feel good. And I'm not anxious. My nervous system feels regulated. It's wonderful.
I love it. What you said about the medicine. I have a very good friend, and she says you are the medicine. And so it's very
Yeah.
similar mantra.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and it is all within us, and we just have to look for it a little, or just sit with ourselves and let presence and silence and be
Yes.
with us to guide us.
You've nailed it right on the head. We need to sit in stillness, allow quiet to happen, and then the magic will appear.
Right?
Quiet. In yoga, we call this the chittavritti, the soap opera in our
Yeah.
head. We got to quiet that so
Yeah.
we can just hear what our higher self is telling us.
Yes.
Hear what that path is so we can actually do what we're supposed to do
Yes.
instead of playing these silly little games.
Yes. My favorite mentor and guru, Eckhart Tolle, says the magic is in the pauses, the space
Yes.
between the words. We as a society just run around with earbuds in. Something's coming in to us all the time. We can't even take
Mhm.
a lovely walk without downloading a podcast or something like that. Hey, listen to the
Ah,
podcast, ladies. We want you here, but we need to have specific time for our inner being to be able to come
yeah.
forward, don't you think?
For sure.
Yeah.
And we need to have our external world in balance with how we treat our internal world. And if we respect the internal world, then and don't have this imbalance, then we won't feel that chaos that a lot of us in society are feeling right now with just this constant barrage of external things. What I do is I balance it. I have my podcast and my people that I listen to that encourage me and don't shove negativity down my throat. And then I take my pauses. I have my yoga practice. I go and take space to process all that stuff coming in. So that's what we need, is just balance.
Well, Dr. Christina, let's go back just a little bit into your own story. How has your understanding of meaning changed across the different seasons in your life?
Oh, gosh, that's such a great question, because it really, really has. To start at the beginning, so ADHD, what the neurotypicals are going to call a weakness is actually a great strength in us, is that we have a deep need for meaning. If we have a meaning for something, then we have motivation to do that thing. And if there's no meaning, we're going to get distracted. We're not going to do it. It's just a part of us. And everyone says that's, it's so bad. Why do you always need to know why? We're the why kids. Why? But as we learned in positive psychology, meaning actually brings you peace, less anxiety. It enhances, your ability to think more creatively. So as I got older, I was able to lean in, not knowing what it meant to have the meaning in my life until I got my education, and now I have more depth. But in my 20s and 30s, it was really, who am I? Why am I here? Is it my career, or is it my calling? And I was reading like every religious book, like my whole religious search. I grew up Christian. I'm now Buddhist, but I read all of it, like every religion. I was like, well, what do you believe? Okay, well, what do you believe? Well, I like that. I'm going to take that, but I don't like that. Well, what do you believe? I was searching, but it was this imbalance. Do I focus on my career? Do I focus on my soul? Do I focus on my relationships and my attachment patterns? Do I just live in my ADHD? And it was crazy. Early motherhood also was a part of that, right? Who am I as a mom? Am I even capable of being a mom? But it started to shift. It went from, am I enough, to what matters to me? And that what matters to me began in my 40s. And that's when I did that, push turn 180 pivot, right? This is no longer mattering to me. I want to be of service. Yeah. How do I do that? Yeah. And so then the meaning became really, really different. I started to look at reevaluating my identity beyond just the role I played: ballet teacher, mom. Now I'm student. I'm more than all of that. I started to look toward post-traumatic growth and stopped blaming them for what they did to me and going, thank you for doing that to me, because it made me a better person. Right? And I used to tell people, I had a friend a long time ago, because I used to get teased because I'm a hyperactive girl. How do you take it? She said. And I said, I'd rather have him do it to me than that one over there. I can take it. So right? So that's cool. I thank you for doing that to me, because I'm a better person for it now. Post-traumatic growth. Absolutely. And starting compassion and agency, self-compassion and agency. And now I'm in my 50s, and things are shifting again, and as I'm going to be moving, through my 50s and into my 60s, I'm assuming I'm going to be doing more life integration, reviewing where I've been, so I can then see where I'm going. Hopefully we'll do some legacy creation. My daughter and her spouse are trying to have a baby, right? And so that's going to be something different, right? And then, I want to continue my growth, my spiritual transcendence growth, and my study with my teachers and mentors. And I know when you and I first discussed, one of my spiritual mentors, and I would love to meet her in person, is Carolyn Mays. You
Mm.
know, I want to embrace the knowledge coming into me, integrate it into my life, and then share with others, because what I'm learning is actually healing me. And then how do
Mm.
I get that so I can be of service? And so my meaning has shifted through the decades. But you could see kind of a theme, and then maybe it's the existential crisis in all of us, that theme of why am I here?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to be doing here?
Right. So, back to just the whole question of meaning and how that's changed you. How I know there's a lot of women out there who are kind of searching for that. They don't know what that meaning is, and they don't really
Oh
aren't
gosh,
sure how to
yeah.
find it. Do you have any recommendations or what worked for you?
I do. In fact, I printed out some three really practical tools because I was hoping you would ask this question, because I want to give people like something to take home with them today, that they can actually do to develop meaning. And I came up with three tools because we're all different. You're going to hear one and go, "Oh, that's not one. That's not for me." So let me go over them really quick and see if maybe any of your listeners might resonate with some of them. So
Okay.
if you are a journaler, there is two kind of journal prompts that will help build post-traumatic growth and agency. The first one starts like this: because of this hardship, I have developed, and then fill in the blank, right? And then the other one is, in spite of this challenge, I choose to fill in the blank. I love this exercise because for me, it helped me see that whatever happened to me as a kid made me stronger,
Mhm.
made me more able and capable of taking and doing that. So we need to start acknowledging that, and we can make meaning behind that. So let's say you're not a journaler. We all aren't. So the
Yeah.
next one is, list all of your main roles, partner, professional, mother, friend, creator, caregiver, whatever the role is. And then ask yourself, what value do I want to embody in each role? Great. So now we're attaching your roles to the values you want to put forward. And that solidifies in your brain your values, and it reconnects your behavior to your meaning instead of your obligation, which is
Mm.
huge,
Mm.
right?
Right.
Because sometimes obligation creates expectations, which creates resentment. But if we
Right.
have meaning behind it, it
Right.
changes it. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, and then the final one, this is again for the writers. It's the redemptive story exercise. You're going to write either a painful chapter of your life. You're going to talk about what it cost you, what it taught you, and who you are becoming because of it. And
Mm.
by doing this, it'll integrate your suffering into your identity rather than fragmenting it. And that's part of trauma, what we do in trauma therapy. We're trying to integrate our trauma instead of separating it out. So
Mhm.
those three kind of exercises can help start the question of what meaning is in what your values, and how that brings meaning into your life, and then helps you on your path, your healing path, for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be very helpful. It sounds like an excellent, excellent exercise. So, um, how does this meaning making protect women from anxiety, burnout, identity loss, etc.?
Oh, well, let's go into positive psychology. So, this is where my dissertation was in, and so exciting about the research. So, there is a lot of research in positive emotions and meaning making. We're really dealing with values and those emotions that we want to, have more of, like pride, awe, joy, contentment, right? And make meaning around having a more peaceful life. Well, the research in positive emotions show that if you have more positive, let me backtrack. Negative emotions cause cortisol, cause early death, heart attack.
Some would say cancer.
Some, I was just going to say, some studies show cancer.
Yeah.
So negative emotions are bad. So what does positive emotions do? Well, the research shows that positive emotions actually broaden and build. And let me explain. Broaden, it broadens our cognitive abilities. It makes us have more space in our brain. We're more creative, more divergent thinking. It does immense stuff to our cognitive abilities. So the build part is it builds more resilience in your physical body. You'll have less physical illness. You'll be more resilient against all the bacteria and viruses.
Mm.
There is so many positive aspects to positive emotions that we should be implementing them into our daily life intentionally. And so by putting meaning into your life, you're going to notice initially less anxiety cognitively. You're going to start having those ruminations because you're going to be starting to think about your values, how you show up in the world, what you want from the world. The secondary piece is you're going to start to see nervous system regulation. You're going to have less fight, flight, freeze, play dead, less fawning behavior. And then, kind of the last piece of it is you're going to finally feel like you're comfortable in your own skin
Mm,
and you're showing up authentically in the world
that feels so good.
and happy and content. And then stressors can come, but you have this cognitive bandwidth that's huge. You're regulated. Stressors come and you're like, oh, let's problem solve this instead of, oh, let's freak out. I
Right.
can't handle this. Right. So, yeah, meaning making is going to enrich your life in ways beyond just making you feel good in the moment.
Mm,
Continually trying to seek meaning in your life is going to have long term benefits beyond
absolutely.
just feeling good. You're going to actually feel good physically, mentally, spiritually, psychically.
Love it. Oh, thank you. So, Dr. Christina, thinking of the women listening right now, who are still in her own version of the midlife funk or some kind of transition,
Yeah.
what is the one truth that you've learned through your journey that you want them to especially hear today?
Yeah. You can get off that path at any time. You're choosing to stay on that path. What it took for me was the minute I said, I am done. This path is broken. That's a better path for me. And I always refer to the healing path because I was not on a healing path. I was on a path for you to, I don't know, accept me, figure me out. Who knows what path I was on? It was dark, it was dingy, it was crazy, it was overgrown. You can make that decision right now. You can say, I am done. And you could step off that path. And you do that by making different choices every day.
Yeah.
Instead of picking up the cigarette, don't. Instead of going to the fridge for the ice cream because you're stressed out, don't. Do something else.
Yeah.
You know, change. It takes you, and it's the decision. I am no longer going to stay on this path.
Mm,
That's when the magic starts. You've already changed.
I love it. I love it. Another one of my mentors, Abraham Hicks, kind of just says, look at what you want. Just
Yes.
ignore what you don't want. Don't even look at it. Look at what you want and go towards it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
I
but you got
love
to
it.
make that decision to do it. So let's, to all your listeners today, why not now? Let's make it
Yes,
now together as a collective and let our feminine energy kind of rise up. And let's use that so we can all move toward a healing path.
absolutely. Because we need every one of you. We need
Yes.
what your given gifts are to bring forward in this world to make it all it can be. And so, absolutely, we need you at your best. So, gosh,
Yes.
Dr. Christine, I love everything you've shared. And I know that our listeners are totally, tuned in and resonating. Where can our Lady Tribe find you online, so they can keep this conversation going?
Oh, for sure. So my website is peace, like in peace, PEACE, humanistic.com. You can see all of the ways to connect with me there. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Christina Lauk. I publish a weekly article on my blog on my website, which I also publish on LinkedIn. It is specifically for ADHD and trauma. It is science backed. I mean, I have a full reference section so you can look at the studies I'm referencing. I talk about justice sensitivity, rejection sensitive dysphoria. I talk more than just like use the Pomodoro timer. I really get into the nitty gritty of ADHD and trauma. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can find me either on my website or via LinkedIn, and I publish weekly, and it's free.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And we'll put all of Dr. Christina's links in the comment section, bio section of wherever you're listening to this. All right. So I ask every guest this because connection is the cure, if you ask me.
Um,
So, Dr. Christina, how do you tribe?
Yeah, so I really go back to how our species communes, and it's usually around food. And so I'm always trying to like bring us around. Let's go have lunch. Let's go sit down and share a meal together. Um, I think that is a really important piece that a lot of us have gotten away from in our busy world of going through the drive-through. No, go sit down at a restaurant with a friend. Pause, enjoy your food, enjoy your conversation, enjoy the moment. And so that's how I really like to engage with my tribe is around food. When my family's coming over, it's like, what are we going to eat? What are we going to come together and enjoy together? So that's how I do it.
I love that. I love food. I love to have a meal with you, Dr. Christina. And if I might add, especially if you're at a restaurant, put those devices away for that little 1 hour
Right,
that you're together
right.
because we don't need any distractions with our time's limited and this is special.
And turn off the vibration mode. We hear that. Turn it
Yeah,
on silent.
we don't
Put
need
it
the
away.
distractions. I'm a squirrel. Anyway, I don't
I am
need
too.
any of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, this has just been lovely visiting with you. I'm so grateful. And so thank you so much for your vulnerability, for sharing your beautiful work and your passions and your spark with us today. You've just given us a lot to think about, and I highly recommend that listeners out there connect with Dr. Christina, especially, I mean, trauma, ADHD. I think she's an expert, and she can help if you're kind of floundering in that area. So, and our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. If this story resonates with you, please put some comments in, share it with a friend who might not need to hear this message. Definitely follow the Find Your Lady Tribe podcast. We're building this tribe, we're building this community and the Save the World Sisterhood so that, like Dr. Christina said, we're all going to bring our power forth together collectively and make a huge difference in this world. And you are a part of that. So again, thank you for being here with us today. And when three or more gather, we are tribe.
Thank you for spending this time with your Lady Tribe. I always say that when three or more gather, we are tribe. And today, with my guests, myself, and you listening in, that circle is complete. I hope this story reminded you that your purpose is worth the pursuit. If this episode stirred something in you, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Your engagement helps other sisters find their way to our circle. If you're ready to take the next step in your own transformation, I invite you to join our gathering place, the Save the World Sisterhood Facebook group. It's where we unmask, connect, and cheer each other on as we ignite our lives together. Until next time, I'm Brenda Ridgely. Save the world, sister.